I'm Josh. I'm working on my PhD in Islamic Studies. My areas of interest are Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia.
I'm Charlie. I've danced salsa with cocaine bandits in Colombia, surfed across the border into Mexico, and have a master's in applied linguistics.
I'm Nate. I grew up in Bolivia. My specialty is radical Shia politics. I've edited a book on Hezbollah, and I've had tea with some of the wealthiest men in the Middle East.
We surf,
Dodge bullets.
And we go to the ends of the earth for the sake of adventure.
You can call us Blakkbox.
I don't know if we're going to be able to make it through the board.
I'm so pissed. We came off the road, we got off the freeway, took our first exit into, and this was Hezbollah's real strong zone, and it's a total no-go zone that, I mean, they do not want you there at all. And so we knew that, yeah, this was a serious situation.
and I kind of roll to a stop as we're going down the hill, and I'm kind of sketching out.
Dude, we're gonna get friggin' roasted. We gotta go in?
Huh? A bomb hit, full concussion zone. Everything seemed to just wobble like this. All the garage doors can go out, or I mean, like in, and then just blow out.
It felt for me like my head was going to explode and somebody just punched me in my stomach as hard as they could.
Go, go.
The bomb probably hit a half a block or maybe a block away from where we were on our scooters.
It was crazy, and we were on the scooters, and so I was filming with one hand and just kind of, you know, we're trying to ride and jam out of there.
Josh stopped to film a little bit, turned back where we just were, and you can see the smoke coming up where we were just sitting.
All right, so
We just got almost nailed.
we're in the
Right where we
we're in the concussion zone on the last hit. This is Hada Tahrik. Over here, this is the Mukhayyam. This is the Palestinian refugee camp. They're hitting really close to the camp.
We gotta go. Yellow. Let's go. I told him we gotta go, so we turned around and kept going, and that's when I looked over and saw a guy in green with a Kalashnikov pointed right at us, and bam, 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 they started firing, and it wasn't warning shots. They were firing at us maybe from 20 feet away. Josh, since he only had one hand on the handlebar, on the throttle, whatever, just ate and just died. The camera got knocked off, but then he turned it back on. I drove back up to try to help him start his scooter. It wouldn't start.
He said, roll down the hill, trying to get it started. We get taken by this group of Palestinians. Taken at gunpoint, and they take us, put us on the scooters, and they take us around a block and a half back to the entrance to the camp.
These were PLO guys. They saw that the situation was getting totally out of control as well, so they hurried up and opened a shop. Just threw us inside, sat us down, didn't let us move. People were totally out of their heads, and the situation at that point was totally out of control, where, I mean, we were ready just to get torn apart.
One guy just like holding a bead on on us, and the other guys sort of half questioning us, half yelling at us, half trying to pat us down.
Yeah, way serious search. I mean, we had to take shoes off, socks off, because everything was gone. At this point, I thought, oh man, we might have gone too far this time. The Hezbollah guy came in, goes over, grabbed T-shirts and T-shirts over the head. There was a car waiting outside.
أمريكان ما معهم لا بطاقات ولا معهم باسبور ولا معهم أي هوية.
They shoved me and Josh in, and then just started driving like hell.
بسرعة بسرعة direct. لا روح.
We're in the middle, and the guy's holding our eyes like this with the T-shirts, and we drove for probably, I don't know, 10 minutes.
سلام وين نجيب أو حدا من الشباب مطرح الضربين مش معنا هويات ولا معنا أوراق ولا تعريف كمشتون جوا أنا شباب الحدث مش معنا أي شيء هيك عمشت الكاميرا صورش تدريها خليها بلاط كمشتون جوا
Got tossed inside this real small, dank little place, and at that point, then, yeah, door closed, and I thought I was alone. I didn't think Josh was in there with me, and I just thought, this is it. This is the rest of my life for the next 10 years.
The guards would come up and yell at us, Ibn Kalb, and all this stuff, and just swearing at us in Arabic and calling us dogs and Bush is a dog and all this stuff.
At some point then, they opened the door, frisked us again, and then we got marched out into this house. There was, yeah, at least 10 guys, and the first thing they asked when we went in there was,
do you know who we are?
Sat us down on the couch. The guy who first got us had a super sadistic look in his eye, and he would move really slowly, put a chair by the couch where we were sitting, and pull up and just really give us the hard, cold stare. And then they just started asking questions, what we were doing, looking through our stuff, our cell phones.
شو هاي الأجهزة؟ لا مش كاميرا، هاي جهاز. بلا هيك كاميرا. وين كاميرا؟ لا بس هذا الجهاز. هي الجهاز. هذا الجهاز معاهم. هذا اللي بتسلم.
It starts out pretty tense and suspicious. Then it turns out we know a little bit about the culture. We can talk a little bit. And they start telling us stories. The interrogator is going in and out because he's making phone calls and he's checking on the stories and whatever. Start to warm him up. Things start to get friendlier. Eventually, he got the word that we were all clear.
Not only did they give us back all our cell phones, everything, they had gotten our scooters back and drove us out to the outskirts of the southern suburb. When Josh and I drove back, super slow since he had a flat tire, just the whole way back.
I see war a lot differently now after having been weeks in a very intense war situation.
It feels, being in those situations, it's difficult to explain. People don't really understand why you put yourself or why we put ourselves in these kinds of situations. Its impressions of what's happening are so different than the reality. The reality is it's everything extreme. It's way scarier than people think, and it's also way more mellow and just way more chill than people think.
We in the West have isolated and insulated ourselves completely from any violence, danger, conflict, all of it. We're calling it crazy and savage, but it's how history works.
The war started because two soldiers were taken captive, and with what seems like the aim to take out Hezbollah's political power. I don't think there's been much of a conclusion. After the ceasefire, after the fighting seemed to get nowhere, those two soldiers are still captive. Billions worth of dollars in damage to the Lebanese infrastructure, tremendous environmental disaster. And Lebanon's a different place, and I think Israel's a different place. And the situation is not necessarily resolved.